what is shaping the opinions of South Africa. I know some of them. So it's not as easy as we here in West Africa or East Africa, other parts of Africa, looking at their problems. Their history is radically different from ours. It's an extremely violent society. When we say violence, we mean violence to the extreme. There's no violence. Sorry, in Nigeria, we have this Boko Haram and what have you. These are very late developments. In South Africa, their violence lasted for 400 years. The very first day, the whites set their foot on the Cape Town till 1994, when they gained their independence, about 400 years, they've been battling issues with white South Africans. So we should try to see things from their point of view. They were very harsh towards us while we were there, but I'm trying to be objective. If we were to be in their position, we will even do worse than what they are doing at the moment. This is how I see it. It is not true that they are targeting whites in South Africa. The society is violent. For example, in the city of Johannesburg, the number of cemeteries they have in the city of Johannesburg is more than the number of cemeteries in any African country. You get what I mean? The number of cemeteries we have in Nigeria is not up to the number of cemeteries they have in the city of Johannesburg. In Soweto, there's a cemetery that they call Avalon Cemetery. It's in Soweto. Every week, on the average, they bury between 500 to 700 people. Black cemetery. The whites, they have their cemeteries. The Indians, they have theirs, the colors and what have you. So it's a very violent society. The blacks shoot hell out of each other. The main killers in South Africa are bullet wounds and AIDS. So Trump is just being, should I say, nasty. These are just arm twisting techniques. That's how I see it. Then this issue of land. The land was forcibly, so the blacks were forcibly dispossessed of their land. Since gold was discovered in Witwatersrand in Johannesburg in 1886 or thereabout, South Africa has known no peace. They even exported their problems to Zimbabwe in search of mineral, that's a road. They went up to Namibia, and the whole of that region was turned upside down. The society became violent. The blacks, they rose up to the occasion to repossess their property. In the case of Zimbabwe, they fought for land ownership. That the land belonged to us, we want our land back. That is the main war they fought in Zimbabwe. In the case of South Africa, they fought for equal rights and justice. The land belonged to those who work it. So if a white man is working the land belonged to him. If a black man is working the land also belonged to him. So that was a negotiated settlement. Unlike Zimbabwe, it's Nigeria that gave independence to Zimbabwe. When they held a Commonwealth conference in, I think, Dar es Salaam or so, 1978 or thereabout, the Nigerian foreign minister, Brigadier Henry Adefokbe, announced at that conference venue that Nigeria is nationalizing British petroleum because they are investing in South Africa. The conference scattered. They went, Thatcher and others went home. That was 1978 or so. 1979, there was Lancaster House Agreement talks on Zimbabwe. 1980, they got their independence. That is for Zimbabwe. Now, the problem in Zimbabwe is land. The arrangement they arrived at Lancaster, Margaret Thatcher and his government, they refused to honor their own side of the story. This late man, what's his name? Jimmy Carter, chipped in some money to ease the tension. But at the end of the day, Britain refused to honor our commitment. This is why Robert Mugabe decided to introduce the land redistribution program. And when he introduced it, Britain declared diplomatic war on Zimbabwe, crippled the economy till tomorrow. Zimbabwe has not been able to recover. So if South Africans are not careful, they are going to reduce South Africa to rubble. This is the fear Ramaphosa has got. And being a violent society, if the economy continues to decline, they will not be able to handle the people. While during apartheid, The blacks were not educated at all. All the big universities in South Africa, Witwatersrand, Grahamstown, Pretoria, Stellenbosch, Cape Town, you name it, they were white universities. The blacks had very few. They were not properly taught. So when independence came, South Africa was an advanced society. Their airline was one of the best in the whole wide world. Their shipping line has no rival. Their parks and gardens, electricity supply, gas supply, they need highly qualified people to run the system. If they had told the white men to leave immediately, that society would have crumbled. That is why Nelson Mandela said, we are not telling you to go. If you want to stay with us, you are South Africans. That was the trick they used. They've been doing all they can to educate the black. They've awarded a lot of scholarships to the black. But the problem is, the white South Africans are leaving. They are trooping out of the country in anger. They said it is better for them to be paupers in Europe than to be under black majority rule. When I was in Johannesburg, we had a workshop where we fabricate, machine parts. I learned it while I was in Israel. So when I got there was no job in South Africa. We set up the workshop. We had a problem with a machine we were using. So we lose the parts. We were looking for an engineering company to fabricate another one. We traveled the whole of Johannesburg. I discovered a startling revelation, and that is the industries are dead. The white men are all gone. So this is the problem the country is battling with, and with irresponsible people like Jacob Zuma, who fraternized with the Indians to fleece the country. It's a pity I cannot narrate the story. It's quite a lot of story. Anybody who's interested should get in touch with Dr. Damages. I have, there were two commissions of inquiry, the Heifer Commission and one other commission I cannot remember, set up to investigate corruption in South Africa. Jacob Zuma is the linchpin of corruption in that country. And in fairness to the system, Jacob Zuma went to jail, an ex-president, to show that they are really concerned with the way they are running their country. I don't think any Nigerian ex-president has ever been to jail, despite the monumental corruption we have in the country. So we should please try to see things from the South African point of view. They are in a very tight corner, and it is not their fault because they were not prepared for independence. They were fighting wars. Independence came unexpectedly when what's called F.W. de Klerk made a U-turn and said they are negotiating. The ANC was busy fighting from Zambia, from Maputo, from Zimbabwe. They were just fighting wars. They never trained anybody to do anything. When independence came, they ran into a problem. And somebody mentioned something that is very correct. The DA, Democratic Alliance Party, is the white apartheid party. The problem is there is what they call born frees in South Africa. Those who were born after 1994 who never saw apartheid. They've grown up and they are not satisfied with the way things are going. The economy is getting so bad. So many people are out of jobs. So it is these born frees who are increasing in number that gave the Democratic Alliance those votes they got to form a coalition party, a government with the ANC.
Please speak about the Kwerekweres.
No, yes, okay. Thank you for raising that issue. I suffered it. Let me explain it this way. During apartheid, the ANC leaders, Jacob Zuma, Thabo Mbeki, and so many of them, they were in exile in Nigeria, in Zambia, Ghana, and what have you. Now, these guys, they were receiving money from foreign countries, Nigeria, Ghana, Zambia, Kenya, and others. They were spending this money without giving account to anybody because it was not a government. You cannot audit the account. It was gift you gave to them. So when independence came, they all went home. When they got home, unfortunately, the free money they used to enjoy outside was nowhere to be found. So they descended on the national treasury. That led to the Heifer Commission of, I think, 2004, thereabout, in Bloemfontein. Now, when they descended on the treasury, they emptied it. There was a French company they called Tails. They awarded some billions of rands and manufacturing company that was unaccounted for. So at the end of the day, the economy was bad. So when we got there, the black South Africans saw us. We looked like unidentified flying objects in their midst. Where were you while we were fighting apartheid? And it's a very correct question because they were cut off completely from other African countries. They could not even get in touch with us on radio. They were not even receiving our radio broadcasts, our newspapers. There were no television. I mean, they were just living in a world of their own. So when apartheid ended and we descended on them in large numbers, the question they asked is, where were you while we were fighting apartheid? People like Jacob Zuma, Thabo Mbeki, and others supposed to educate the people the role we played in, to enable them gain the independence, which they refused to do. So this is the problem. As far as they are concerned, we are nuisance in their midst. And you cannot blame them because how educated are they? The most educated ones, they got what they call matric, that is our O level, GCE O level. That's the most educated. You see a black South African, he said, I've been working for Checkers, Woolworths, ShopRite, okay, for the past 30, 40 years. What have you been doing? Oh, I'm a driver, I'm a cleaner. I mean, manual jobs. The white never trained them for anything. So when they are reasoning, they are not as enlightened as you and me. You see, an illiterate who grew up in the midst of educated people is not the same as an illiterate who grew up in the midst of illiterates. The level of education in Nigeria is very high. When the illiterates are interacting with us, it also shapes their opinions, unlike people who grow up in the midst of illiterates. So this is the problem they have in the country. They should be very careful because if the country should collapse, it's going to be an unmitigated disaster. So I do not blame Ramaphosa for going to White House. The Benin people have a saying that that is, if there's a rat in a pot, you have to be very sensible when you are trying to kill the rat inside the pot. That is what, I'm sorry, I cannot interpret the proverbs very well, but I think that's the meaning. This man is being cautious because he is dealing with a madman. And if he should pretend or try to be mad in dealing with Trump, the consequences can be terribly tragic. And please, I will send you some documents. Please, anybody who's interested should try. It's good. All of you should try to get in touch with Rudolf. He will send you some documents about 2 commissions of inquiries. One is on Jacob Zuma, and the other was about a police chief they called Bulalani Nuka. They investigated him if he was an apartheid spy. These were landmark commissions of inquiries in South Africa. I have it